The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, Rebels, and the new Big Bad. Everything is pointing towards Thrawn and his master plan. But what does this actually mean for Star Wars? And how does the Bad Batch finale change the stakes for Palpatine's secret plan? Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your place for everything Star Wars gaming, the TV shows, and the movies. Let's jump in.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
Let's talk about that Bad Batch finale.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious. Probably the last 4 or 5 episodes of the Bad Batch have just freaking taken the bad. Went head to head with Mandalorian and won.
Mm-hmm.
I have been so enjoying this kind of storytelling. And I think they just are doing it so well.
They did some pretty bold things in these last, two for the finale? Two episodes for the finale?
The two episode finale.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did.
Was not expecting a lot of this.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I'm proud of my brain here. I'm proud of my experience and just Star Wars knowledge. I just saw a glimpse of a white shirt, and I was like, wait a second. Could it be? Is that actually the person that I think it is? And they did confirm it. Krennic, Tarkin, and basically the most powerful Imperials all got together in this episode. And I have not seen enough discussion on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
Yeah.
This is a monumental moment in the Star Wars timeline that we got to see. This is pre-Death Star. They're probably talking about the Death Star.
Yeah.
And they're planning this massive change. And there's freaking Krennic and Tarkin in a meeting for the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. I think that this whole scene here is going to have some huge ramifications as we get further on. And obviously, with that ending, we cannot be not getting a season 3.
Truly. We also saw Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
That was wild.
That
blew me away. I was like, what? Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah. I saw this one thing that was Saw Gerrera and how radical he is would be a lot cooler if he actually succeeded at anything.
Oof.
I was like, man, throwing some shade. I mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like all of the things that he's in, he doesn't necessarily follow through all the way. But it was a cool little thing of what? Mm-hmm. When he was revealed, it took me back a moment. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Seeing that face again, I was oh,
it took me a second. I was like, who? Oh my, what? Oh, I went through 5 stages of realization when he showed up.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate how much more in depth their plans seem to be than the Bad Batches, where they were just we're just gonna run in there.
Yeah. Saw Gerrera's we've got a 17-step plan.
Yeah,
and we're on step 15 right now. The Bad Batch is we're just trying to save Crosshair here.
Yep.
We barely got here, and we're probably going to blow everything up.
Yeah.
And they're just our plan is to blow everything up, but it sounds a lot more dumb when you say it.
Yeah, but we're not actually saving anyone this point. We're actually trying to kill everyone, so maybe step out of our way. Fair enough, Saw. Fair enough.
Yeah. But it's so fascinating that all these different pieces are coming together because we have Royce Hemlock, who is a new character to Star Wars and seems to be a big new thing to this Bad Batch arc and probably the whole series as a whole.
Probably Star Wars as a whole.
I think
at least
so.
Connecting things.
Yeah,
maybe. It's
so weird because this is post Order 66. We're getting closer to more of the Andor time frame. Not quite. I think we're closer maybe to Solo when it really comes down to it. But we're in that weird transitional period where we have stuff like the Fallen Order taking place after Order 66. We've got the Bad Batch that picks up basically right at Order 66, and there's that whole arc in season 1. And I think it's fascinating, this timeline change. And then if you jump forward quite a bit of ways, you have The Mandalorian, which is set after the Battle of Yavin. I think it's 9 ABY when we start Mandalorian. And we're in 10 or 11, depending on who you ask. Don't ask Dave Filoni or freaking Jon Favreau. They have no idea. We're in this time frame. So you've got Bad Batch over here setting up the foundation of what will ultimately come to fruition over here with The Mandalorian with Dr. Pershing, and you see that they're still trying these cloning ideas. They're still looking at what Kamino did and what the Kaminoans did in terms of how the clones are working. And I think that's fascinating as we move deeper into this story. And I think a part of it is like, why is this such a big deal?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is Palpatine.
Yeah.
And it for whatever reason, wanting to live forever and just keep cloning himself and making his brain bigger and collecting all this data.
And we have so many examples of this in Legends too. Like even in the video games like Star Wars, The Force Unleashed, those deal with cloning. Can you replicate the Force in clones? Can you replicate these certain things when you do clone? What is a more advanced version of a clone? Can you take one person and clone them, both from their identity to their physicality, their age, their experience, all of that stuff? And what does that mean? How is that going to work? And that's, I think, a lot of what Palpatine's playing at, is we have these things, at least in Legends, that we know he did, but we have yet to see a full like breakdown of it. But for some reason, it included the bombing of Kamino.
I kind of feel like that was just a ploy for more control. The Kaminoans, although they did their job extremely well, they were still just a planet unto themselves. They were not truly controllable.
I don't know if they were even part of the Empire or the Republic, honestly.
I think so. I think they were just kind of doing their own thing, getting paid. I think that was literally it. Like, they're just here for the money. And to do the work that they want to do.
Galaxy-renowned cloning. Oh, you got the cloners.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like this is a step to take things into a much more direct, like a more evil or sinister plan for cloning that the Kaminoans probably would have said, yeah, no, we're not into that. We're not into the Empire's big plan to rule the galaxy sort of thing.
And in Legends, Palpatine underneath the Jedi Temple, deep underneath, where they built the Sith Temple. Like, he had his own secret lair that he had a bunch of different cloning facilities in, and he was really experimenting with a lot of that. So, like, he was deep in this.
Yeah.
And then their location, which we'll get into later on in the episode, make sure you're stay tuned for that, because we're going to be talking a lot about Thrawn, his rise to power, where he came from, and then what the next steps are for Star Wars. The location that they're on, Mount Tantus, is a big part of Legends Thrawn. Like, he found that was a place that I think Palpatine or Thrawn used to store many ancient artifacts. So Thrawn was very much a collector. Palpatine's a collector as well.
And now we have a creepy scientist collecting clones.
Yes. And like, he's a new character to Star Wars. He's first introduced in the Bad Batch, which I think is super fun. He's a freaky dude, man. Like, he creeps me out big time.
Does anyone know what's happening with his hand? He's always like holding his hand. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Maybe it's a clone hand.
Maybe.
It's not his own.
But maybe.
What do you think Omega has to do with this? Omega? Because we had a huge reveal in this episode with Omega is not the only female clone.
And interesting that she would, I don't know, maybe it's not interesting, but for this older maybe clone to come at her and say, I'm your sister?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the other clones kind of call themselves brothers and whatnot, so I guess that makes sense. It still felt weird. Like, it still felt raw.
It was like, oh, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah.
It almost like takes away some of the specialness of Omega, which I think is the whole point.
Yeah.
I wonder too, tying it to the Mandalorian, we have like the whole thing where they're trying to make new life with taking the best parts of two individuals and cloning that into one person. I wonder if that's an experiment that they're running in Bad Batch of like trying to make the ultimate clone of like, we're going to take this part. Maybe you have great hair over here. Maybe you have like super strength over here. Let's merge those two things together.
Be interesting to see if that's what they try to do with the Bad Batch. Like to see if they'll just try and like get all their heightened senses individually and try to merge that into one clone.
Maybe. It depends on what they want.
Yeah, but why Omega?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we still don't even really have a clear idea as to why the Bad Batch considers her super important.
Yeah.
Other than
They're all clones.
They're clones, and she's a clone, and she's young, and she needs protecting, and yet she needs a family.
We theorized on the channel about the possibility of Crosshair being tested on for the Dark Trooper progress, like the project on that. I think it was like phase 0 or phase 1, which is taking clones and using, I think it's like either 70% human and then 30% robot, or it might be the reverse, but using a mix of the cyborg human combination to make the Dark Troopers, which ultimately become robots like we see in Mandalorian. Fun fact, those were introduced in video games.
Really?
Yeah. So make sure you stay tuned for the Star Wars Celebration panel that we'll be diving into on stage live Saturday, 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. We'll be diving into all the details around video games and how they influence Star Wars. But yeah, like that's another key piece of what this connection that they could possibly have. So they're working towards the stormtroopers. We know they ultimately end up with the stormtroopers, so there must be something past that. What is that middle period? What is this? What are they working on?
It's still so mysterious. I kind of wonder if Omega is a clone that doesn't have the growth.
I don't think she does.
I think she's just like a standard kid, kind of like Jango. Yeah.
Or Boba.
Yeah. Boba. Kind of like Boba.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's more just the human side of the batch, you know?
Yeah. I still don't fully understand of like, does the aging process stop once they reach that certain age, or does it keep on going?
I feel like it must keep on going. And
I don't know. Because like,
I don't know.
If you look at Rex and Rebels, like that's
true.
It's not like
it's not like he was like super old. It seems like it would have to just continue on accelerating their age, because even in Bad Batch they're discussing how
they're aging. Yeah.
But still, it's still strange. It's still very in the dark.
Yeah.
About what all this is about.
There's a lot to be like broken down with the Bad Batch, especially that finale, because there's so many different pieces. You've got what the Empire's doing. You've got Tarkin, Krennic, all of that summit going on. You have Hemlock and his experimentation. You have Crosshair. You have Project 99 or whatever. Those troopers, the Bad Batch themselves. You have what we know is going on in terms of budding rebellion, the Jedi, all of these different moving pieces. It's like there's a lot that's going on with all this.
And then Tech died.
Yeah, and then the Tick Deed. Tick Deed. Tick, no! Which was so sad.
That was so sad. I cried.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I shed tears.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would.
He was so
Tech
good.
always felt a little stale. But we did have that great moment
They
sure
his
did.
Character
They sure
development
did.
Big time.
How dare they?
I knew someone was gonna die. Like I felt it in my bones, and I was like, oh, who is it? Could it be this person? Could it be this person? I did not expect Tech to die.
No. But it makes sense in hindsight.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that finale, and I think, man, it's definitely changing how we're going to move Star Wars forward, especially with probably announcement for season 3 as they go and try to get Omega back from Hemlock and really move deeper into that.
And really find out what's going on, because there's no way they can get her and not find out what's going on.
I wonder if they're going to work more closely with Rex and maybe Cody, because we still haven't seen Cody again.
True.
I think that could be a big part of things in season 3, because we've lost Tech. Did Crosshair get returned?
No.
Yeah, so we don't have Crosshair either. Like it's Hunter and it's Wrecker. Yeah. Against the galaxy.
Oh, what are they gonna do?
Yeah. Switching gears, we've mentioned Thrawn. Thrawn is a fascinating character, like rising through the ranks of the Empire in a way that no alien had even done before. And, I mean, I think there still is in the Empire a no alien policy or something. It's maybe not a spoken rule, but it is an agreed upon rule. And anyone that was a non-human was very, like, they went through hell. So we've both been listening to Thrawn, the first book.
Yes.
The first canon book. oh my gosh, dude.
Whoa.
Thrawn, if you know Thrawn from Rebels, you have a sliver, just a taste of what Thrawn is. Because literally, this dude is a master tactician. Someone who was kicked out of the Chiss Ascendancy because he was so masterful. He got kicked out of the Chiss Ascendancy because they have a no preeminent strike rule. So he gave a preeminent strike, and it worked. It saved his people from a very big threat in the unknown regions in the wild space. But because of that, he was kicked out of the Chiss Ascendancy. We meet him on this rogue planet, very much on the outer rim, way off. I think it might have been wild space or getting close to it. And the way we are introduced to this character is he is one by one taking out this squad of stormtroopers.
Yep.
And ultimately is playing around with their communication devices, turning it off and on, cutting them off, bringing them to different locations. And then he takes one of their suits and infiltrates into their ranks and is just barely noticed. Like, that is incredible.
Frankly, and then he wanted to be caught.
Yeah, he didn't. Like, if he didn't want to be caught, he wouldn't have been caught.
Yep.
Just so he could have another future. Like, he is so tactical. He is so brilliant in terms of the paths of war. And then he pairs up with this dude who helps him, learns from Thrawn, but also helps Thrawn in terms of translating. And Thrawn rises through the ranks of the Naval Academy, the Imperial Navy. And he goes through there so quickly, but doesn't know the whole like political side of the Empire. So he's making all these decisions on like what is best for the Empire ultimately, what is best for this mission, without being like, oh, how will this help me rise through the ranks? So he's ruffling a lot of feathers.
Which is fascinating because it shouldn't. Like, literally, if everyone knew that he was just there because he wanted to be, like, literally, the Empire is now his new family and his new tribe. And he's like, I will do everything I can to make sure that this succeeds. And that's literally his only goal. It's like, I just want this to succeed. So here I am. And everyone's like, oh, he just wants status. He just wants power. He's like, literally, I just want to win.
I want to win, and I know how to win.
Yeah, I want the Empire to win, not even himself. I want the Empire to win.
Like, he's cutting off all of these rogue governors and high-ranking people that are using the spice mines and all of these different things to benefit and make profit off of them. But Thrawn's like, yeah, this is against the Empire, so we're going to shut that down and shut this down. And like, he is like slowly but methodically weeding through the Empire and just cutting out all the fat.
Yep. That's insane.
Yeah.
This guy, it's funny how he is ruffling everyone's feathers, but at the same time, no one can be mad at him because he's literally doing what their job is.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally doing exactly what they want everyone to be doing. And so he's like,
to the law. Like, they can't get him on a technicality. Everyone's like, frick, we can't, like, he's doing everything right. Like, he covers his tracks and all that stuff because they're thinking like he's trying to make a ploy for the Empire and all this stuff. But like, literally, he's trying to do what he can to make the Empire as
and he's doing what he's doing best.
Yeah, which is tactical, just brutality in the best ways possible.
Yeah, in the simplest ways. And he can think like how they're all thinking.
Yeah.
Like, he can think like how he can think about how someone would want to undermine things. In a strategic way and not necessarily in a like,
it's like, why are these people doing
psychological people way?
Yeah.
So very fascinating to see.
And he's just like breaking down their expressions. And it's so great. Highly recommend listening to the audiobook. The voice actor is incredible, Mark Thompson. Good gosh. There are voices he does that I don't know, like, I don't recognize them as his voice.
Nope.
Like, he's that good. But why is he so important to the Empire? We talked a bit about like how he's riding through the ranks, but like, I think ultimately he's so important to the Empire and why Palpatine likes him so much and just appreciates that is he knows what he's doing. He gets his results.
And more than that, he's literally here for the Empire. I think that's what Palpatine sees in him right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Is that, this man, this alien, has no ties to anyone and no want for self, I don't know, I don't want to say gratification, but like self...
Like literally, like he lost himself when he was like kicked out of the Chiss. So he's just trying to find the next thing of like, okay, this is the next cause I'm being a part of.
He's literally like a puzzle master, and he just needs a puzzle to figure out to win.
So this is what I love so much about Thrawn is in Rebels when Ezra takes Thrawn out of the picture. They go into wild space, they go to the unknown regions, and they're crashed on this Star Destroyer. The big boy, the Chimera, the head honcho ship, the ship of all ships, you could say.
Wow.
Once he's taken out of the picture, very soon after that, the Empire starts to crumble and eventually fall with the destruction of the Death Star. And also, fun fact, Thrawn found the Death Star before anyone else knew. Him and his buddy were tracking down. They're like, man, there's something that's taken a lot of different parts and materials, and they're going into this random part of the galaxy. Their projects combined, he's like, I have an inkling of where I think this is. They've done a really good job. They're working through third parties, contractors. They're dispersing everything. But he's like, I think there's something going on here. Ultimately, he discovers the Death Star before anyone else is officially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that in the book?
That's, I think, in the future books. I just know this from Star Wars lore videos, writing shorts, and that kind of stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Thrawn, though.
It is Thrawn. Yeah, so, like, it's insane. But, like, that's how much power this one man has. And I think that's why he's the perfect villain for this next series of TV shows, movies, whatever. He is almost unbeatable. If you're going from a pure tactical, him versus you have to make a plan that he will thwart him. He will win. Yeah. Unless you use like magic space wells.
And just do something very stupid. That he'll be like, oh,
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. You have to throw him a curveball that he cannot calculate the curve to. Which will be very difficult.
But like that's why he's the perfect villain for this new series of shows and movies. He's so smart that it makes everyone else better.
Yes,
because they have to try to beat him.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see, because it seems to be Ahsoka's goal to get him. I'm going to be really interested to see her take him on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I definitely don't think she's going to take him on alone. She's definitely going to join up with
Skeleton Crew, Mandalorian, whoever.
Boba
Fett,
everyone.
Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? I often feel like they typically use a supernatural something to overcome Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because he's just so crazy. So it should be very interesting, and that's kind of why I'm not surprised that they're choosing Ahsoka specifically to pinpoint Thrawn.
Yeah.
Because she's the Force wielder in this big story sort of thing. Like, should be interesting.
Thrawn is I'm a good guy kind of guy, you know? I like the good guys. I like the rebels. I like the resistance. Against Thrawn, sorry guys. No. Thrawn wins my heart. He is my boy, and I want him to win. I don't want him to get taken out by anybody because I think he's too good of a villain. He's not evil. Which makes him so awesome. Like, he is not evil in Star Wars. Like, he is just doing what he believes is right and how to successfully do that. That's fun.
Yeah.
So I hope that Ahsoka just sets up a larger story with him.
Yeah.
Because I want to see as much Thrawn as I can.
Yes, please. And I want to see Thrawn win big.
Yeah.
Really big.
Like, really set the standard of, like, what they're going to have to, like, get all of our heroes to the same level, like, baseline. Make sure they have some good character growth and development.
Please.
And then take him down. Like, I don't want it to be, like, 6 episodes and then, boom.
Yeah.
They're over. No, I want this like built up, and they're really building up with Mandalorian and the mentions that we've seen of Thrawn, and Moff Gideon's probably working for Thrawn. Like, there's definitely something going on there. The only concern I have is Thrawn is such a like nuanced character, and except for Andor, the new wave of Disney shows on Disney Plus, they don't do nuance. Everything is right there to see. And Thrawn and Rebels, I think they did a really good job of like really showcasing that.
Yeah.
But I think in live action, there needs to be even more weight to that to really showcase his strengths as a villain.
Yeah. Lately, especially with Mandalorian, it's been
Sloppy.
Yeah. Sloppy and
Unfocused.
And yet
Anakin in the prequel trilogy, basically, and the Clone Wars. Sloppy, unfocused, unguided.
Yeah.
Rageful.
Yeah. I remember seeing Mandalorian first season, and it was so cinematic and gritty. And
yeah, I went back and watched it. So good. Like it had a direction. It knew what it was going to do. There are some slow sections with I think episode 3 or 4 or whatever, but
it still had a look about it.
It had a goal too. Like it had underlying, you had momentum and you had a goal of doing. Like we are 5 episodes into the season and we just now kind of figured out where we might be going in the future, possibly. But not this season.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Throwing Thrawn on the scene right now would be very bad.
Yeah.
Like, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Hold him off for at least another season or something, because I just can't. Like, it's if he comes on now, I'm going to be very, very disappointed.
Yeah. I think it's fine if you like hint to it, maybe. Like they've been doing. Like, man, this is kind of like a lot more for like a warlord or something. Like maybe stuff like that. But honestly, don't throw Thrawn into season 3 of The Mandalorian. No. I think all of us are going to look back to season 3 and be like, man, that was rough. That was like the middle school era of this show.
Thrawn in Star Wars needs to pull some big punches, and to see him in live action, that actor has got to know what they're doing. Has got to know just the history and the way this being thinks.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's why so many people want Lars Mikkelsen to play him.
Yeah.
Because he's got that experience with Thrawn. And like whoever's writing these shows, make sure you go through and listen, read, do whatever you need to digest all of the Thrawn material. Because good gosh, is it so freaking awesome. I knew he was cool from researching videos, but like listening to this book has just opened up my eyes even more with how freaking awesome he is.
I'm pretty sure I started watching Rebels because of Thrawn.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I was like, I need to know more about this guy, so I'm gonna watch all of Rebels to find out. Which
I just finished season 1 of Rebels for the second time as I'm going through my rewatch, and I'm enjoying it. Surprisingly fantastic. Surprisingly fantastic. I would rate it fantastic.
Wow. All right.
I still not to the levels of like Clone Wars, but like it's got some like good moments there.
Yeah, it does.
The Kanan Ezra stuff. Whoa.
Yeah.
That is a lot more nuance this time around.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think a second watch is in order for me.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. With that, thank you so much for watching this episode. Let us know your thoughts on our theories. The Bad Batch and its connection with Thrawn, cloning, as well as Thrawn being the next big bad. I think there's a lot to be said there. But let us know in the comments below. You can check out the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can check us out on YouTube for the video version, as well as some more content, breakdowns, reviews, and deep dives into the TV shows, games, and movies. Make sure you check us out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, may the Force be with you.